moula m'apaise à peine. Je reviendrai jamais, partout je vois ton sourire. Je reviendrai jamais, je dois exaucer mes rêves. Je reviendrai jamais, je chante ma peine et j'oublie que je reviendrai jamais. Souviens-toi de nous. Malgré le lave j'ai mis de la distance, de la distance. Une chanson, les larmes au cou. Malgré le lave j'ai mis de la distance, de la distance. Soit dans toutes les rames que je t'emmène. Moi j'ai fait de mon mieux pour te faciliter la vie. À toi de faire ton choix. La moula m'apaise à peine. Je reviendrai jamais, partout je vois ton sourire. Je reviendrai jamais, je dois exaucer mes rêves. Je reviendrai jamais, je chante ma peine et j'oublie que je reviendrai jamais.
We are in February 2023 in the Spirit Vine Retreat Center in Bahia, Brazil. We are giving ayahuasca retreats every month. This one was a 9-day retreat. Would you like to start?
Yes, so my name's Chris. I'm from Canada, Montreal. I'm a recovered drug addict here for spiritual purposes. This is not my first time at Spirit Vine, it's my second. And coming into this retreat, my goal was to connect with my mother who has recently passed away. I also came with my partner, and it was to help us heal from some wounds that we had in the relationship and to deepen my spiritual progress.
Hi, I'm Michael. I'm from London in England. I came here a year ago to help me deal with my mother's illness. Whilst I was here, she unfortunately passed away, so I didn't get to finish my time here. And I vowed that I would come back and to help me deal with that, and also to help me feel a little bit stronger and better about myself.
I'm Roxanne, I'm from Amsterdam, and this is my first time doing ayahuasca, and the purpose that I came here is because I can't love myself, and that's been my theme. I can't accept love. So yeah, I just wanted to figure out what I can do about this.
I'm Dana. I'm from Australia, and I have been on this spiritual journey for the past year and a couple of years, and I felt really pulled for ayahuasca and heading on to this journey to understand more of myself and understand more of my childhood and connect deeper to my body on a level that I hadn't before. So yeah, it was my first time here at Spirit Vine and my first time taking ayahuasca.
Hi, I'm Kieran. I'm from Vancouver, Canada, and I came to Spirit Vine to explore my consciousness, deepen my interior world, find the source of my pain, and dismantle the ego. And I've never taken ayahuasca before. It was my first time.
Roxana, you said that you came here because you didn't know how to love yourself. Can you tell us a little if you experienced during the ayahuasca or in the workshop something about that and
Yes.
what happened?
Especially the first workshop, we really focused on inner child. I didn't know that trauma could be such a big thing, that could be the root cause. Since I'm adopted as a young kid, 3.5 years old, from China, and I've never really stood still and really thought about it. Hey, this could be my trauma. And when doing this meditation, I just went back to my moment that I got adopted, and I just felt a lot of grief, scared, fear, just rejection. And then after the ceremonies of ayahuasca, I went back to the trauma again, and then used the tools to actually really love yourself. I just didn't know how to do it, but ayahuasca just showed me how to do it by just hugging myself and really loving myself. And yeah.
When we do the workshops, I guide the group to enter in a light trance. So you are in a modified state of consciousness. that make you more vulnerable, more open. So you became one with the child. So you are the child again. It's not just remembering what happened long time ago. You are experiencing again the trauma, and you know what is this child feeling now.
Yeah.
What is the decision this child was taking in that moment. And when you hug your child, it's very strong.
Yeah.
It's not just I will create it with my mind and I have to imagine that. You are doing it. That's why it's so powerful.
Yeah.
So what did you feel after doing that? What you started feeling?
So in the beginning, I felt really, just negative thoughts, fear, trauma, just negative things. But then ayahuasca showed me how to change it as a story. So then first, from this negative feeling, I felt love, or like just touching a feeling and kissing myself. It really surprised me, like the love that I was just missing in my life. And then I went back to that trauma, and I could just change this negative feeling into the positive. So after like really imagining it, I could just accept my adopted parents giving love to me and really change this whole
So you
situation.
reframed the whole situation.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I think your child needed a little of insistence, no?
Yeah.
Convince her, because
Yeah.
of course she was not believing.
Yeah, exactly. I
She
didn't
was,
believe.
no.
Yeah, but now I really believe. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's crazy. Yeah.
I come from a past with some deep trauma. My mother was quadriplegic for the last 15 years of my life, but she was sick my whole entire life, and I had a sense of abandonment, insecurity, fear that I had since I was a small child, which has followed me into my adult years. So it was deep traumas. And ayahuasca showed me how my inner child was damaged, and how the damage would manifest itself in behaviors such as narcissistic personality disorder, even because I was hurt. I saw that because my inner child was hurt, that it was okay for me to hurt others, and I had in the past behaviors such as kleptomania, which is something that I always had a hard time in the past to control, and I saw how the damage to the trauma would just manifest itself because my inner child was so wounded, and this is, since it's my second experience, but this is the first time that I encounter my inner child like this. So I was able to give it the love and the compassion and sort of reframe, sort of nurture that, because just to help with the healing process. And it was honestly like such a profound and powerful moment. I was crying tears of joy, compassion, love, and then I saw that it was much more easier to love others afterwards. In my visions, I was presented with the people that are closest to me, and I was just coming out with such gratitude and love and affection for the people that are most important in my life, and including the group in this retreat, the group that I was taking ayahuasca with. So I think for me the first workshop is the most powerful workshop, and this retreat has been the most healing retreat so far for me.
It's very difficult when you are a child not to feel responsible for the tragedies in your family, in your life. Children are very egocentric, so everything is my fault, or I am not good enough, or I am a burden, or I am ugly. You create a lot of situations when you are a child, and of course it's not true. But you grow thinking that was the truth, and you feel guilty, you feel bad, you feel not, you don't deserve to be loved. So we focus the first workshop in the child, because this child needs a lot of healing. But how to start. We will start healing what? So we need to discover what was your decision when you were a child. What was the cause of the trauma? And because of the trauma, what this child decided. And after that, the child is in a loop, repeating and repeating the trauma constant. That's why a lot of people need to take drugs, because the pain is so unbearable.
Yeah.
You need something to numb the pain.
Yeah.
Alcohol, drugs, workaholic. You can be addicted to anything.
Yeah, for me, that is exactly like I. Not only did I see the manifestation of behaviors that caused me a lot of shame and lashing out, but I also saw how I was hurting myself. I was repeating the pain. It was a loop, and in my addiction, and it was something that, you know, I've been working really hard over the years to get out of. But this showed me clearly the cycle. I was able to see it so clearly now, more than any other experience. And yes.
This time is your second retreat here.
Yes.
In the first retreat, you saw this child, the trauma of this child?
No.
You couldn't?
I couldn't.
What happened? Why you think?
I don't think I went deep enough.
Okay.
I think I think I what I was presented was more like I would see like the manifestation of my kleptomania, like the sort of pain I was causing others. Like I as you recall, the last time I came, I was coming fresh out of a relapse, and I was taking drugs that did not belong to me, and I saw that this kleptomania, this stealing was problematic, and I was able to actually talk about it openly with the person that I did this to, and come to like a healing there, but I wasn't able to get to the root cause. And this time I was able to get to the root cause. Perhaps it was maybe because we're starting with lower doses and we have to build up, or maybe I just wasn't spiritually ready to get to that level. So I think it's a mixture of both. I also have been working a lot on myself since the last time I came, so I feel that also would have contributed. And the first retreat still gave me so much information that I was processing a lot of it, including, you know, understanding my shadow, the parts that I don't like about myself, and sort of learning to nurture and embrace everything I am. So I think all of that played a role.
Yeah, it was, for me it was very clear that you were working a lot, because the difference between the first time and this time was huge. You look much more healthier and happier.
Yeah.
So this is the type of behavior, no, that you need to assume responsibility for your own healing. Not because you come here and you drink ayahuasca, it's done.
No.
It's a lifestyle. You need to change a lot of habits. You need to pay attention your decisions before you do something. So it looks like you were doing the job.
When I first came a year ago, I really just started my spiritual journey, and I probably wasn't quite ready. There were skeptical bits about me, and in the first workshop it was about trying to find your inner child. And I don't know if you remember, Sylvia, I was just, well, I've had a good life. I've got a mother and a father, stable. I'm not rich, not poor, never been abused, don't know death. And I picked a story that I thought was just something really silly. It was about a biscuit that someone had stolen off me when I was a kid, but it was the only thing that I could really think of. But I felt a bit insignificant because there were so many people in the room with big, what I thought were bigger traumas. And Sylvia quite rightly told me, no, that's something that I thought of at this particular time. So it's obviously something that impacted me. I didn't get to delve too much into that at the time because I got a call to say that my mother was passing away. And I'd come really to try and help myself deal with that. And in that ceremony, I got everything that I needed, and a little bit more. But I knew I was going to come back and finish the work that I'd started. But it was just absolutely right time for me. It was only 3 days that I spent there last year. Coming back now, I also know that I've done quite a lot of work with myself and my body, how I eat, how I prepare myself for the day. And I think I came back much more a stronger person, and it opened me up. And when I went back in that first workshop again this year to my childhood. I could bring lots of different things that, you know, weren't as meaningful as the biscuit, but they was as traumatic. I hadn't thought about them for a very long time. And it's all around my own insecurities and the barriers that I've always put up against building strong, friendly relationships. I came here with my wife, and we've shared the experience, and she is obviously my best friend, but outside of that, I've always struggled to retain and keep on. I'd rather just say there's a problem and give up, and I'll just move on to the next friend. And I've confronted that this time. Ayahuasca has allowed me to confront that this time. So, you know, even if you have got some skeptical bits about you, don't give up on yourself and just keep on going with your journey. There is still lots for me to learn, I know, and I will continue to do that.
Mike, do you think that you have the I cannot complain, I don't have the right to complain because other people have real problems. My problems are not that important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And part of that I now know is because I thought I'd lost a little bit of my voice. And, you know, other people are more important than me. Yes, they have got, you know, things that people will see as much bigger traumas. But any trauma is a trauma to a child. And
so you were completely fine with that?
I was absolutely fine with that.
You never thought, wow, why I don't have the permission to talk about how I feel? It's like you didn't exist.
Yeah, it was.
You were invisible.
Yeah, I was completely on the outside.
But since when? Did you discover what happened? When was the first time you decided to be invisible? You didn't want to be a burden.
So in the first workshop, it did come to me, and it was an experience when I was at primary school, where I was one of the only children of colour in my class. And I got teased a little bit, and I didn't really have a friendship group. And I was just in a performance, and everybody was saying that I was really good at this performance. It was a drama performance. Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat. But the kids all just said that. My mother also worked in my school, so the kids were just basically teasing me. The only reason that I got the part was because my mum, because it was a little bit of tokenism, because you're a little bit different. And I just remembered sitting in my bedroom, and I was just in tears. And at that point, I didn't say anything to my mum. I didn't say anything to my teachers. I just thought, well, you know, I have no real friends. They are not real friends. And maybe they are, but I don't have any talent. And I'm not saying I wanted to be a budding actor or anything like that, but it just made me withdraw a little bit from myself and, you know, actually building better relationships going forward.
And you never imagined the consequences of that decision in that moment.
And I didn't see any issues with that either. Because, as I say, it's not that I don't have friends. I have friends, but they're there for me in a particular point in life. If I then move job, it was like, I've moved on now. Or if there was a problem or a disagreement, instead of talking about it and resolving it, I go, I can just find another friend. And so I know I've lost a lot of good friends. I've still got some good friends, but I know I've lost a lot of good people in my life just because of that.
So just to be in the superficial part, not the impossibility to go deeper, intimacy.
Yes.
Talk about feelings. I am feeling hurt.
Yeah. And I was always, even the friends, whether they were that superficial or temporary, or the friends that I've had for a long time, I'm happy to help them and talk about their problems, but I would never unburden myself onto them, apart from my wife, who unfortunately took a lot of my burdens. But yeah, I wouldn't generally do that with my friends.
You think it's resolved now?
I think I'm getting there. It's not completely resolved, but
What
at
is?
least see it now.
At least you know.
I know.
But what it requires now in order to change it?
It just requires me to stop thinking that I'm not worthy of their time. They would love to, I know a lot of people would love to be there and help me if I just sort of like spoke up and told them that. And it's just building up that additional levels of confidence to know that that is the case. And being amongst all the people here, you know, these last 9 days is that first step. There's a friend of mine I know who's going through a rough time at the moment, and she helped me when my mother passed away, and I've never really thanked her for that. Even though I'd put a little bit of a barrier, she was always there. So I've reached out to her whilst I was here just to say hi, and I need to speak to her when I get back home. So I think it's now just a matter of me just sort of like not just realising it was a problem, but actually taking that next step and grabbing onto those people and holding them and telling them that I want them to be there for me as well.
Good. So probably the fear to be a burden, no? You don't want it to bring more problems to your family, to overprotect them.
Yep.
So you told me after the workshop in this retreat, I was very skeptical, but it was very good.
Yeah.
I like that when you don't believe in anything and suddenly you are surprised.
Well, I was when I first came last year. I was open to it, but I just thought, you know, whatever happens, it's going to be an experience, right? I just thought it was going to be an experience. So I hadn't closed myself up to it, but I hadn't opened myself. So that first experience was truly eye-opening for me. It was an amazing experience, and even though I only was there for 3 days, it all just seemed to perfectly come together. And at that point, I could have absolutely no doubts whatsoever. Even though I came again this year, I was still quite sceptical about the inner child work, because I hadn't really understood. My first experience was really just about dealing with my mum, not dealing with me. So I didn't really understand it. This time, and it was also, there's the 3 workshops we've done, all came together to help me deal with the issues that were within me, and that I'd brought with me from childhood.
We had a meeting, 1-by-1 session, and you were storing a lot of emotions, even pain, in this area, and you didn't know what to do with all of that. You were just reacting. Can you explain a little what happened there?
Yeah, so that morning I was just exposed to these big amounts of guilt and shame, and so much so I was sitting in with my thoughts, and I didn't really know what to do with them, and asking for help was another intention that I had throughout this whole experience, that I wanted to work that muscle to be able to ask for help when I needed it. So coming to you, Sylvia, was a big thing for me to help me just get it all out of me. And when I sat there, when we had that discussion, you gave me that permission to feel the fullness of it, but also not just sit in the victim state of it, to actually have tools to apply to these things, that I really am the controller of how I feel and how I experience my experiences. And that for me was something that I applied straight away, and to be walking around now without those feelings still there is 28 years of relief that I didn't know I had access to. I just needed someone to reflect them back over a course of a couple of minutes when we were sharing, to be able to apply that straight away. And it's really hard to find the words to explain how I feel about that, because I understand now how I am the controller of how I perceive everything, and if I don't do anything with it, of course it's going to manifest, and just applying those tools instantly relieved me of these big, heavy emotions that no longer needed to be here.
Yeah,
So,
but also you didn't have any boundary. You were feeling not only your things, you were feeling the pain of a lot of people and carrying everything inside of you, mixture, and you didn't know that you can choose how much of this I need to take in order to learn, not to punish myself.
yeah, and that even just my ability to react, I saw so clearly how I was jumping the step and jumping towards my emotional responses every single time. And I think that conversation that we had helped me dial back into the space of making the decision whether to react to it, take it on or not. And that has been incredibly profound to me, because as a very sensitive, deeply sensitive person, I feel like I can be in any environment now and not feel that I have to take on anything of other people, but I have the choice back.